Have you ever heard someone's personal tragedy and struggle that completely changed your mind and thought about an issue? I have when I found out about my favorite writer, Peter McWilliams' personal battle with AIDS and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Peter's diagnosis with both diseases and the cocktail of drugs he was prescribed left him feeling terrible, nauseous, and ill. Unable to write, Peter knew this was absolutely no way to live. So he tried marijuana. For that very personal decision, Peter, of course, was arrested. The judge, barring him from telling the jury his medical history, was, of course, convicted. While waiting sentencing, Peter, had to be put back on the cocktail of drugs that so made him sick, died, choking at home on his own vomit. Peter's story was the catalyst for medical marijuana in California with Proposition 215 in 1996. Since then, 20 states have legalized marijuana for medical use. Of the 12 states, that have legalized it have done so through a grassroots movement. Now, anyone can propose an amendment here in Florida, so why not us? And what is the process for doing so? You, me, or People United for Medical Marijuana can put an amendment on the ballot, as well as the Florida Legislature and Florida Taxation and Reform Commission. The process goes. First, we need to go ahead and organize a political committee. There is no fee for doing so, and anyone can go ahead, and this is done mainly for accountability reasons. Step 2 is to get format approval, what the petition voters will sign. Once format is approved, then it's time to get a serial number designed by the Division of Elections. This serial number must be printed on each and every ballot signed. Given this serial number allows the political committee to go ahead and print and distribute petitions. The petition asks voters to fill out their name, address, voter registration or date of birth, signature, and date signed. Once signed, the petition is valid for 2 years. Once that's happened, it's time to collect ballots, petitions. I collected petitions at my salon next to a sign that said, "Please help us defeat Lord Voldemort and President Snow by signing our ballot access petition." Humor always helps. In the end, though, a company did have to be hired to collect enough petitions. The number of registered voters' signatures needed is 8% of the last presidential election turnout, or 683,149 signatures. Of those signatures, they must come from 14 of Florida's 27 congressional districts. All petitions must be verified by February the 1st to be included on this year's ballot. Once the political committee receives about 10% of the petitions needed in 25% of the districts, the amendment automatically goes for review in front of Florida Supreme Court. Florida Supreme Court tries to verify that the law written will be constitutional based on the way it is written. Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, argued against the petition this year. She stated that the language was too deceptive and the law was written too broad, give doctors too much freedom. The Florida Supreme Court has until April 1st, and they did render their decision positively in a 4-3 decision. It will be on the ballot. Once adequate petitions have been met, it's time to make sure that each one has been verified by the County Supervisor of Elections. The process for this is very simple. They need to be verified. We need to make sure that each one is signed by a registered voter. Cost is 10 cents per petition. Once all that is done, it has been approved by the Florida Supreme Court. We have adequate petitions. We have, of course, been verified. It is up to you, the voter. We need 60% plus 1 for an amendment to become law. So is all this worth it? Dr. Sanjay Gupta apologized back in August of last year, saying that he was sorry for writing an article in 2009 saying why he would vote no on pot. He said he was too dismissive of the data, too dismissive of the loud chorus of patients Patients that had been helped, such as Charlotte Fiji, this little girl. He met Charlotte while doing a documentary. She was diagnosed with a severe form of epilepsy that starts at birth. By the time she was 3, she had over 300 seizures a week. Charlotte's parents, of course, would not give up. She was on 7 different medications. She was diagnosed with Dravet's syndrome, severe debilitating condition that starts at birth and only gets worse. It affects every aspect of their lives. Luckily enough, Charlotte's parents lived in Colorado that was a medical marijuana state since 2000. They would not give up and found the Stanley Brothers and the Realm of Caring, a nonprofit organization that specializes in helping people with debilitating medical conditions such as Charlotte cope with these devastating diseases. They do this at a very low cost. Paige, Charlotte's mom, in her own words, for the first time in years, she has been eating on her own. She sleeps throughout the night. Her severe autism-like behaviors of violence, crying, no sleeping, no eye contact are a thing of the past. So I ask you, has all this effort and money and time been worth it? I ask you to wake up a little bit earlier on November 4th. Stand in line, grab your ballot from that old person, and only you can really answer that question, has all this been worth it? Thank you.